you a fan of protein bars? Well, so was I until I discovered the dark truth about them when it comes to health and longevity. In today's video, I'll be giving you a detailed overview of the effects of the sweet protein treats and the dark side that they have. I'll also be giving you two better alternatives to these protein bars, so buckle up, it's about to get interesting. Picture this. It's the 1950s, and the protein craze is sweeping the fitness world. Capitalizing on this trend, a Pennsylvania-based lifter named Bob Hoffman introduces his own line of soy-based protein supplements. Inspired by a close-by Hershey's factory, also referred to as the world chocolate capital, he decides to launch a product he referred to as high-protein fudge. This was an instant bestseller among bodybuilders. Lifters around the world were amazed at how for so long they had to adhere to tasteless, bland protein powders and filling food to be able to reach their humongous protein goals. This intrigues another visionary bodybuilder named Joe Weider, who following Hoffman's success decides to push his luck as well. He develops and launches the Candy Food Bar in the late 60s. These bars were more or less just energy bars with higher than usual protein contents though. Fast forward to 1992, the first ever real high protein bar, the Cliff Bar, is created. It boasted a whopping 20 grams of protein per bar and created a new standard for modern sports nutrition, being the precursor to the protein bar we know today. Despite the abundance of supplement companies nowadays, protein bars have remained relatively unchanged for the past decade. While new discoveries are being made every single day when it comes to diet and nutrition, protein bars have remained relatively static, with their dangers often overlooked. Now, I used to be obsessed with protein bars. Despite the warnings on the labels, I would eat 2 to 3 a day. I didn't care. The issue with most of these too good to be true supplements nowadays is that most of the times they really are too good to be true. I talked to a friend who is a fitness coach and a professional IFBB pro bodybuilder, and I asked him about the protein bars, as well as other supplements that are sweet and high protein. His direct response was, if you didn't prepare it yourself and it tastes good, then it's probably not good for you. And that made me think. If it's a store-bought item and it tastes good, most of the time there is a catch. And when it comes to protein bars, the catch is the artificial sweeteners, palm oils, and other various compounds in them. Now, you might assume that sugar is bad for you, hence the artificial sweeteners are better. This is often not the case. Sugars can actually be a great quick source of energy for workouts. They fill up your muscle glycogen stores and they give you that needed high energy for your workouts. On the other hand, artificial sweeteners, although they don't spike your insulin and they don't give you other sugary side effects, they might not be as good for you as we've been led to think. There are several studies that have linked artificial sweeteners to carcinogenic effects, and while the immediate effects might not be cancer specifically, the long-term effects of these sweeteners still remains unknown. So what I have here is the bulk protein bar. It's the tiramisu flavor. And Bulk is actually a supplement company that I've used for a while. Alongside with my protein, they are probably one of my favorites when it comes to just ease of use and getting all the necessary stuff at my doorstep within just a week. I am not affiliated with either of these companies, but I do recommend if you need a good, well-priced source of high-quality protein, go for either my protein or Bulk powders. I'll put the links of those two in the description as well. Just make sure you use the discount codes that they have, because they usually price their stuff purposely higher and then they entice you with the discount code. So when you apply the discount code, you're actually getting the real price that it was meant to be sold at. So keep that in mind. When it comes to protein bars, what I'm holding here right now is potentially the most carcinogenic protein bar in the world. And this is not a jab at Bulk specifically. Every supplement company has these. So let me explain why this is so bad for you. If you look at the supplement label, I'm hoping you can see this, we can see that this has virtually no sugar in it. And you might think to yourself, well, that's great, right? Sugar gives you diabetes and sugar makes you fat. Well, not exactly. So we can see on the label that what makes this bar actually so sweet is sucralose and isomalt, both of which are artificial sweeteners. Studies have actually shown that despite giving 0 calories, sucralose can spike your insulin as well. And when it comes to isomalt does have carcinogenic effects. Both of these sweeteners will inevitably upset your stomach in ways you cannot imagine. I mean, the label here literally says, consume a maximum of 2 bars per day. Excessive consumption may produce a laxative effect. Why? Why would this give you a laxative effect. If you eat a Snickers bar, or if you eat 10 of them, do they give you a laxative effect? I mean, one could argue that protein gives you inevitably protein farts, correct? But when it comes to protein bars, especially ones with artificial sweeteners, overconsumption of these will lead to diarrhea. So we know artificial sweeteners not only are bad for your gut, but they are also bad for your cell health and potential carcinogenic effects. So does this mean Diet Coke will give you cancer? Well, not exactly, or at least not immediately. Obviously, you should not consume these zero-calorie foods or these zero-sugar foods on a daily basis as your every single meal. The fact of the matter is that these compounds are still being researched and we don't know a whole lot about them. These are new. These were not present when the first protein bar was made. They just simply used honey as their main sweetener. And even though it is full sugar, I would argue that it was better than whatever we have right now. You know, there's a saying that if you want to be healthy, you shouldn't eat chemicals. And this protein bar is 99% chemicals. And it tastes great. It tastes like any other protein bar, but the white chocolate on top, this is what worries me the most. So I actually ordered a 12-pack of these, and I straight up ate 11 of them in one day. I saved this one for the video. The reason why I did that is because I understood that someone with a very high sugar need, especially when I'm trying to lose weight, it's easy for me to overconsume things. And when it comes to overconsuming these bars, well, like I already mentioned, the effects are not nice. So I decided to just do an experiment, consume 11 of these and see what happens. I decided to do this experiment also because I knew that I couldn't have stuff like this lying around my house, right? And guess what happened? That's right, explosive diarrhea and feeling like crap. Stomach pains, just horrible. Imagine if you ate 2 of these, 3 of these. They make them as addictive as regular candy bars. Yet when you eat a regular candy bar, you potentially just get a little bit fatter. When you eat this, well, we don't really know what's gonna happen to you. If you do a quick search on YouTube, you'll find a bunch of fitness influencers doing the I only ate protein bars for 24 hours or 48 hours challenges. The thing is, protein bars actually taste good. They've been made to taste good, just like Snickers bars, just like Twix bars, just like any sort of sweet. But they claim to be healthy. They claim to have high protein and 0 sugars, and they're healthy. If something's healthy and it tastes good, then it's probably too good to be true. Like we already mentioned, if you didn't prepare it yourself, if you don't know what goes into it, and even if you read the supplement label but you don't understand what the words are, it's probably not good for you. In addition to the artificial sweeteners, another scary compound that is found in these protein bars is palm oil. Now, there are rodent studies out there that have linked palm oil to production of certain types of cancer cells. Of course, these types of studies don't exist for humans just yet, and rats have been proven to be more susceptible to cancer than humans. However, this should still make you worry. I mean, this is the same compound that is found in Nutella. Imagine the same compound, the same type of oil that is inside Nutella being put into your healthy protein bar. And it is worth mentioning that processed foods with additives usually have an effect on hormone profiles as well. This includes the raising and lowering of certain hormones like progesterone, testosterone, estrogen, and of course the dopamine response that this sort of sweet treat gives you without actually giving you any of the sweet energy. I think we can all agree in the fitness industry specifically that the more processed a food is, the less healthy it is. Protein bars can definitely be utilized in healthy ways, the same way pizza, donuts, and all of these other unhealthy foods can be utilized in healthy ways. I mean, you see bodybuilders loading up with sugar all the time after a show or when they have a cheat day, for an example. This does not mean that they're unhealthy specifically. Sugar has a time and place, but just because something says high protein and vegan and gluten-free and healthy on its label doesn't mean that it's actually healthy for you. For an example, steroids. They have the muscle building ability, but they also have massive side effects. Same goes for really just anything that you consume. So you need to be aware of the negative side effects as well as the positive effects that it might have on your health. And through that, you can make an educated decision whether or not you should be consuming this product. In my case, honestly, I don't need protein bars. I can get all of my protein from regular, normal food as well as whey protein. The reason why I ordered these bars was because I had a sweet tooth and I was like, okay, if I can make a healthier choice towards satiating my sweet cravings, then I'll take it. But now realizing that this bar might actually be more unhealthy to me than a Snickers bar, I'll probably not consume any protein bars in the future. If you're looking to build muscle or lose fat or just in general live a healthier life, the majority of your nutrients should come from whole organic foods. We all remember the food pyramid when we were children, right? This is a very good way to actually look at things because all of the good foods are at the bottom. These are the foods that you should be consuming in highest amounts. And the bad foods, sugary snacks, donuts, all sorts of sodas are at the top. Now, of course, the food pyramid used to look like this, which proves that scientific research and science in general is an ever-evolving concept. But what we do know is that processed foods are in general not good for you long term. You need to understand that your ancestors did not have donuts, pizzas, or even protein bars or artificial sweeteners or Diet Coke. They got the majority of the nutrients from whole foods such as vegetables, fruits, meat, poultry, dairy. These are the main foods that you should be consuming on a daily basis. You can supplement in some protein powder. You can supplement in a protein bar every now and then. You can supplement in a Snickers bar after a workout to spike your insulin. But in general, 99% of your food choices should be whole foods. It can be very tempting to go for a protein bar if you're in a hurry and you need to get your protein snack in, but there are always healthier alternatives. And as promised in the beginning of the video, I'll be giving you 2 of these that I suggest doing. So the first one is actually protein shakes. I do these all the time. I understand that protein shakes are not meal replacements, even though I tend to use them as meal replacements in a way. Thing is, protein shakes actually could very well be meal replacements, but the thing that makes them not viable for this situation is the fact that they are liquid calories. Liquid calories are usually seen as the devil in the fitness industry because they don't really fill you up as well, and it takes a very short amount of time to consume them, which also can confuse your body to think that it really didn't even get food because it just went in so fast. And there are anecdotal reports of people being more hungry when they consume protein shakes versus whole foods. What I usually do is I have 1 full meal a day with a post-workout snack and 2 protein shakes. I can get my calories and I can get my protein from all of that, but the only reason I do that is because I simply don't have time to eat like 4 hours per day, right? I mean, I eat super slow, especially when I get full. So imagine if I had instead 4 full meals a day, I would spend a lot of time eating. So for me, it's just more comfortable to actually make a protein shake that takes 2 minutes to make, 2 minutes to consume. That's 4 to 5 minutes of my day spent on just eating this one meal. For me, it's about effectiveness, but you don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just simply suggest that you have at least 1 protein shake a day, preferably with 1 to 2 scoops of whey protein or soy protein if you're into that, alongside with some milk or cream. Don't mix it with water because water is just gonna make it taste bland and it might not mix as well. And if you're someone who doesn't like eating in general, well, you can always buy yourself 2 to 3 shaker bottles and you can just simply make all of these shakes, take them with you to work, and every 2 hours you just down a shake and you can actually get your macros in for the day. Of course, you would have to take a multivitamin or just eat at least 1 good meal a day in order to get your micronutrients in, but I'll talk about how to actually do that in a future video. Another alternative is to actually make these protein bars yourself. Now, there are thousands of recipes out there. I'm not going to tell you which ones actually are great. For me personally, I am a pretty bad cook, so I don't really know how to make good protein bars. But the general guidelines are that it should have fats stemming from either nuts or nut butters or seeds. It should have some sort of carbohydrates if you need the energy stemming from oats or rice. You can also add in oat flour or almond flour. It should have some form of sweetener, so whether it is honey or stevia, which is the most safe, organic, well-researched sweetener. It is not an artificial sweetener. It's kind of like sugar, but it has 0 calories again. I'm not going to say it's a good choice to go for stevia, but it is definitely better than all of these other artificial sweeteners that just taste like lighter fluid. Then you add in some protein source, so whey protein, egg white protein powder, and just mix it all up with some liquids. So milk, heavy cream, almond milk. You can use all of these. Then you freeze it overnight and you have your protein bars that you made yourself and you know what's in them. No sucralose, no palm oil, no preservatives. You know what's in them and you know that you won't get a laxative effect when you just eat 2 or 3 of these. Like I already mentioned, stevia is a good alternative to sugar. it is a lot more expensive than any other sweetener, and that's for good reason. So for an example, stevia is naturally derived, whereas sucralose is made by quite literally replacing some of the atoms in sugar with chlorine. Can you imagine that? Chlorine in your body. So you can see where I'm going with this, right? So in conclusion, protein bars can have a place in a healthy, balanced diet, but unfortunately in most cases people don't have a healthy, balanced diet, so they just tend to eat the wrong foods at the wrong times and overeat those foods. It is always best to get your calories in from whole foods, foods that keep you full, foods that give you energy. You should try to avoid processed foods, including protein bars, the same way you would avoid cake or fast food or chips or donuts, for an example. I know it sounds crazy, but protein bars aren't as healthy as you think, and if you don't want to get cancer, if you don't want to get diarrhea, try to avoid them whenever you can. And if you're using this video as an excuse to consume more Snickers bars, check out this video I made on the long-term effects of sugar overconsumption. If you enjoyed this video, share it with someone who might find it useful, and remember, fly high.